Factsverse presents 15 Tragic Stories About the Life of Judy Garland. Number 1. Her overbearing stage mother dominated her career. Judy Garland was born in Grand Rapids, Minnesota on June 10, 1922. When she was born, her name was Frances Ethel Gum. At first, her mother thought about having an abortion because Judy was her third child. Fortunately, her doctors talked her out of it. Her mother didn't do well in vaudeville, so she tried to make her daughter famous by putting her on the stage when she was only 2.5 years old. She put her 3 daughters in an act. Mrs. Gum moved her family to Lancaster, California when Judy was 4 years old. She wanted the family to be as close to Hollywood as possible. Judy remembers her mother being, quote, "the real Wicked Witch of the West." Number 2. Her parents had an unhappy marriage of convenience. Judy's father, Frank Gum, was also a vaudevillian. The only reason he married Judy's mother was to improve their song and dance duo. Mr. Gum was bisexual. There were stories that he was bisexual and would make sexual advances to male ushers and students at the family-owned movie theater. Some people believe that it was Mr. Gum's behavior that caused the family to move to California. Her parents' troubled marriage bothered Judy. She remembered her parents always breaking up and getting back together. She often feared the separation. Shortly after Judy signed with MGM in 1935, her father died. Number 3. She was forced to look childlike. When the Gum family arrived in California, they changed their name. The trio became the Garland sisters, and Judy chose her own first name. Judy was just 13 years old when she signed with MGM. In 1935, since Judy was more wholesome than most of the studio's bombshell actresses, she was given roles of a teenager. The studio paired her with Mickey Rooney in several successful films. The studio wanted her to appear as young-looking as possible for as long as possible, and to achieve this, she had to diet constantly and her breasts had to be taped down so that she wouldn't look quite so developed. Her mother/manager had no problem with the studio abusing her daughter this way. Number 4. Louis Mayer called her a hunchback and groped her. Louis Mayer, the head of MGM Studios, often referred to Judy as "my little hunchback," which is creepy. What's even more creepy is that he would often fondle her left breast. To cover up his horrific actions, he would say he was doing it to show that Judy sang from the heart. When she finally confronted him about his actions, he acted shocked. He said that he felt like her father. It was also Mayer who insisted on keeping Judy looking as young as possible. He forced her to squeeze into a super tight corset so that she could fit into her Wizard of Oz dress. He was also responsible for giving her juvenile roles. All of this put a strain on Judy mentally, and in 1950 her stress and defiance got her fired from MGM. Number 5. She had to smoke and do drugs while filming The Wizard of Oz. Judy was only 17 years old when she starred in The Wizard of Oz. It was this film that made her a star, but Judy had to pay a very hefty price. The MGM executives were so focused on the film being a hit, they were even more strict on Judy about her diet. When she was allowed to eat, MGM minders would take the food right off of her plate. She was encouraged to live on black coffee only and smoke at least 80 cigarettes a day. She was also given different types of stimulants and antidepressive drugs to help her finish the film and then go on a promotional roadshow with Mickey Rooney. This is likely what started her substance abuse problem that ultimately killed her. Sadly, her co-stars didn't even try to help. They often ignored her and ostracized her because they didn't like being upstaged by a child actress. Number 6. Her first marriage was an escape attempt from her mother. When Judy was 19 years old, she wanted to escape the ridicule from the MGM executives, her domineering mother, and the bullies in her life. She thought that getting married would be the best way to do all of this, so she married a band leader named David Rose. Her mother and Louis Mayer both didn't like the idea that the public would stop seeing Judy as a young, innocent girl. Judy didn't care, though, and she was married on July 28, 1941. Soon after the wedding, Judy got pregnant. Her husband and several other people talked her into having an abortion. Sadly, 8 months after they were married, the couple separated. In 1944, the divorce became final. Number 7. Judy found her second husband in bed with another man. Judy's second husband was Vincente Minnelli. There were plenty of signs that he was gay. There were rumors that Vincente was living an openly gay lifestyle in New York, but those were swept under the rug in Los Angeles. This type of behavior was considered unacceptable in the mainstream film industry. Judy and Vincente met when he directed her in Meet Me in St. Louis. This was the first film where she could look like a beautiful woman, not a little girl. The two were married on June 15, 1945. There was a 20-year age difference between the two. After they were married, Judy gave birth to a daughter, Liza Minnelli. Judy's erratic personality and substance abuse put a huge strain on their marriage, though. In 1948, when Judy came home early from a trip, she found her husband with their male employee. When she saw the two men together, she ran to the bathroom and cut her wrists. Fortunately, Vincente was able to stop her before she was seriously injured. They separated in 1949. Their divorce was final in 1951. Number 8. Her third husband drank all the time and gambled away most of her money. When Judy met her third husband, Sid Luft, her career was already falling apart. After they were married in 1952, Sid took over as Judy's manager. He helped her land the role in A Star is Born. Not only did this role bring Judy's career back to life, she was also nominated for an Academy Award. She ended up losing, though, to Grace Kelly, and many people believed that this was because Judy's film failed at the box office. Soon after, Warner Brothers canceled Sid's production contract and had Judy appear in 2 more films. When he lost his contract, he started drinking and gambling and spent most of Judy's money. When he found out that she was broke, she divorced him in 1960. Even decades after Judy's death, Sid was still trying to con her. In 1993, he tried to sell her a 1939 honorary Oscar along with the replacement that she received after the first one disappeared. When the Academy found out, they took him to court and he was forced to pay $60,000 in damages. Number 9. Her fourth husband slept with her daughter's husband. You'd think that after 3 failed marriages, Judy would never marry again, but that wasn't the case. Despite Mark Herron's openly gay relationship with another man, Judy married him anyway in November of 1965 in Las Vegas. Not long after the marriage, Judy's daughter, Liza Minnelli, found Mark in bed with her husband, Peter Allen. The couple separated 5 months after their marriage, and they were divorced in 1967. Mark returned to Peter, and they lived together for the next 25 years. Number 10. Judy was shunned by her daughter. As Judy's substance abuse problems worsened in the 1950s and 60s, her oldest daughter Liza was forced to take care of the household and the younger children. More than once, Liza saved her mother from a drug overdose. She even had to restrain Judy when she tried to jump out of a hotel window. When Liza became a successful adult, she got tired of supporting her mother emotionally and financially. When Judy called her, she wouldn't take the calls. When she called, the front desk would tell her that she didn't want to talk to her. When Judy went to her daughter's Manhattan apartment, the doorman would tell her the same thing. Number 11. She threw a butcher knife at her son. Of the 15 tragic stories about the life of Judy Garland, this one is the saddest. When Liza got married and started her own career, Judy's youngest daughter, Lorna Luft, took over the job of being her mother's caretaker. According to Lorna, there was a time that she had to clean up blood that was all over Judy and her fourth husband's Waikiki bungalow after a physical fight got out of control. She also tried to set his wardrobe on fire. When Judy was drunk, she threw a butcher knife at Lorna's younger brother, Joey. According to Lorna, her mother's problems were due to the fact that she took Ritalin and amphetamines at 20 times the prescribed dosage. Finally, when Lorna was 15 years old, she couldn't take it anymore, and she left home as well. Number 12. Judy Garland was fired from Valley of the Dolls. In February 1967, Judy signed with 20th Century Fox to play Helen Lawson in the film version of Valley of the Dolls. Her character was an older woman with a horrible temper. Judy passed the wardrobe tests and the pre-recorded song. However, trouble started when they first started filming in March 1967. She was too drunk to come out of her dressing room and refused to come out. Her behavior caused her to be publicly fired in April of 1967. She was given a payment of $37,500, which was only half the salary that she was supposed to make. Number 13. She got a book contract but never finished the manuscript. Judy was in a Manhattan hospital in 1959 while recuperating from cirrhosis of the liver and hepatitis. During that time, she was visited by Bennett Cerf, a Random House editor. He offered her $35,000 to write her autobiography. He wanted it to be a very open tell-all about her troubled life and career. She got through 65 pages of tape recordings before she went home to Los Angeles and never completed the book. In 1966, she was desperate for money, so she contacted Random House hoping to restart the deal. The publishing house declined, though. By that time, the $35,000 they gave her was gone, and Sid Luft had gambled away the rest. Number 14. In her final years, she was homeless and destitute. In 1968, Judy had alienated her children and anyone who tried to help her personally and professionally. She had to rely on her fans, who would let her crash on their couches, and some would store her possessions that she kept in shopping bags. John Meyer was one of these men. He would get her gigs in a small gay bar in Manhattan. If she were able to get through a few songs, she'd be paid $100. This is the only money that she had that was safe from the IRS, who were still after her for back taxes. Number 15. She died just 3 months after marrying her 5th husband. In 1966, Mickey Deans was managing a nightclub in New York. A friend of his asked him to deliver pills to Judy's hotel room. After the two met, Mickey tried to revive her career without any success. They dated on and off for several years, and in 1969 he proposed. Sadly, Mickey discovered Judy dead in their bathroom on June 22, 1969, at the age of 47. It was determined that her death was an accidental overdose. Her funeral was held in New York City, and over 20,000 people were there. James Mason eulogized her, and it was a sad affair. Subscribe for more.